Once upon a time, in a world far, far away, men protected women and children, not harmed them. You were brought into this world by a woman. Your children were brought into this world by a woman. How could any man do this? Look at all these bullet holes in the car where a young mother and her young daughter sat. Chasity Nuñez was a patient administration specialist for the Connecticut National Guard, where she served for 4 years starting in 2020. She recently worked as a patient safety and clinical quality program coordinator. Zella Nuñez was the oldest of Chastity's 2 daughters, a beautiful 11-year-old, full of love and life. She was legally blind, but that didn't stop her bright light from shining. She was a high-achieving student and a great big sister. They didn't deserve this. No matter the motive, they didn't deserve this. One of the monsters is in custody, and the other one is on the run.
Now at 6, we have now learned it was a mother and her 11-year-old daughter who were shot and killed inside of an SUV in Worcester. And new tonight, we're hearing from the family of the victims. They tell our Beth Germano that they are heartbroken.
We are hearing from the family of Chasity Nuñez and her 11-year-old daughter Zella, the victims of a violent shooting that stunned neighbors who heard the gunfire.
I could hear this sound that was not like anything I've heard before.
They're getting reports of between 12 and 20 gunshots.
Neighbors say the shots were loud and fast, piercing through this Worcester neighborhood in broad daylight Tuesday afternoon.
Within seconds, it was over and done with, but you could hear dozens of rounds going off within just a few seconds.
Bullet holes riddled a parked SUV on Englewood Avenue, where the mother and daughter were inside, shot and seriously wounded, both later dying at the hospital. A relative, Tyree Sims, telling WBZ-TV, those behind the shooting have more than crossed a line when it comes to violence.
She was a little girl. She was a little girl. And they willingly did that. Like, looked, saw. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what upsets me. You saw that she was a little girl and did that. That's ridiculous.
Police say the 2 victims were ambushed, the street lined with evidence markers indicating the level of violence that erupted as neighbors called 911.
Englewood Ave, there's a Nissan Rogue at that location. It's got bullet holes all down the side of it.
City Councilor Etel Hadjieh, who lives up the street, says she's devastated by what happened and hopes the neighborhood can continue to feel a sense of safety.
The loss of life of these 2 precious 2 human beings and a mother and daughter. And I just have no words for how devastated this feels.
Now the question, who was behind the shooting and why?
When did it become okay to harm women and children? When did those gloves come off?
This remains a very active investigation as police try to piece together what led to this horrible tragedy. The family and neighbors hoping the killer or killers are caught, and soon. In Worcester, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
Breaking news also out of Worcester that we're following. We're learning more about the man wanted in connection with a shooting that killed a mother and her daughter. Thanks for being with us. I'm Melody Mendez.
And I'm Colton Bradford. Police say one of those shooters still on the loose this morning. The other is in custody and expected to be arraigned. NBC 10's Alicia Palumbo live for us in Worcester with the breaking details on both of those suspects. Alicia?
Good morning, Colton. 28-year-old Carol Manguel of Worcester is the one who's in custody. He is scheduled to be arraigned here at Worcester District Court at some point today. But take a look at this video. Multiple law enforcement sources confirmed to the NBC 10 Boston investigators that this was the moment police tracked down and arrested Manguel yesterday. But there was still an ongoing manhunt for this man, 27-year-old Dejan Belnavis of Worcester, and he should be considered armed and dangerous. Both men are charged with armed assault with intent to murder in connection with the violent shooting deaths of 27-year-old military veteran Chasity Nuñez and her 11-year-old daughter Zella, who was legally blind. Court documents allege security video shows the victim's vehicle parked on the side of Englewood Ave Tuesday afternoon when 2 people walked up and started shooting. The 2 men then allegedly took off in a car that police later located in Hartford, Connecticut, near a relative of Belnavis. Cell phone records also allegedly placed Belnavis at the scene at the time of the double homicide. The victim's relatives say they are devastated.
I just hope that they know the gravity of what they just did. They took a beautiful soul, two beautiful souls, senselessly. The best mom that she could have possibly been. She loved those girls with all of her heart. Zella was just the best. She was the best. She was so full of life. Just such a good little girl. And she didn't deserve it at all.
So heartbreaking. Now, Belnavis remains on the run and should be considered armed and dangerous. Manguel, again, is scheduled to be arraigned here at Worcester District Court, where we're hoping to learn a little bit more about the motive in this double homicide. We're live at Worcester District Court. Alicia Palumbo, NBC 10 Boston.
To all of Chastity's and Zella's family and friends, I am so sorry for your loss. If what Chasity and Zella went through, all of their hurt and pain, can stop someone from going through the same thing, then they didn't die in vain.